Good morning, everybody. Welcome out to another Mastermind Monday. Yeah, boy. It is a beautiful Labor Day. And so we're really happy to be here again, as always. Highlight of my week. For sure. It's up there.
Right. Oh, I thought you were going to share a highlight right now.
No, I'm saying this time is a highlight. And we got something special for you guys today. Two things. One, we do have a guest. He's very awesome. Longtime friend. His name's Payne. He's here in the Nashville area, started a pressure washing company. Don't know why he didn't just want to join forces, but hey, you know, whatever. He does his own thing, right? So longtime friend. I literally have known him basically my entire
Worst
life.
decision he's ever made.
Well, we could get into that.
No, we should get in that with it. Is he here right now?
Is he in here? Can he hear us?
Hey, we don't have to get into
Hey,
it.
what's up, guys?
Oh my gosh, Payne is here.
I heard y'all say you.
Hey, we got to take him out of here. But secondly, really quickly, I did want to say, if you want to be a guest on the show, just know you can do what Payne's doing. All you got to do is shoot an email to Scott. Scott and Caleb, they're our YouTube G's, and they will hook you up.
Hey, real quickly, Brady, what's the percentage or likelihood of my man Payne going out of business in the next 2 to 5 years? It's 80% likelihood.
It's actually like closer to, if you're talking 5, it's closer to 90%.
Yeah. And if he end up going with a franchise or a licensing company,
lot lower.
No, it's actually, he has an 80% chance of surviving.
Success. Yeah. I'm saying the threshold of death, imminent doom, is a lot lower
for sure. Yeah. And so, hey, we just want to welcome you out. Make sure you know that we're going to have a conversation after this, Payne, because we love you and we care about you. We don't want you to die.
Yeah, we can figure something out. You know what I mean? So, Payne, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about you. Tell the viewers a little bit about what you got going on, a little bit about your story. Who are you?
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to go ahead and address, I think I heard y'all say at the beginning you wanted to join forces with me, and hey, anytime you want to, just come along. I have a place for you.
We're trying to be in business, not going out of business.
Oh yeah, that's right.
You over here, Payne.
That's what I'm here to figure out.
Just kidding.
That's awesome. Yeah.
No, I love y'all. And this is great. I love the show. Like you said, Brady, I don't get to be on the lives so much. I get to go back and look at the recorded videos. But yeah, my story. My name is Payne, and I've been best friends with Brady for a long time. I've been in ministry for, I think it's 11 years, going on 12. Youth pastoring the whole time. And it's been great. It's been a journey. It's been wild. And I know, like Josh and Brady, and I'm not sure about you, Josiah, y'all have been in ministry before, and you understand the ups and downs of it, right? Like it's not all just beauty all the time. Actually, most of the time it's not just beautiful. It's a lot of hard work. And I was at one church for about 3.5 years at the church I'm at now, which is Restoring Hope. I've been here for about 7 to 8 years now, and it's been great. It's been a crazy journey, and y'all know my story, and I'm not going to get into the whole thing because it'll take up your entire masterminds, and nobody wants to hear that. They want to hear about pressure washing. But in 2015, I had a liver transplant, and glory to God, He absolutely healed me, and He's kept me. And one thing I've learned from my ministry duties and just being in ministry, one thing I've learned from just life itself is that life is a lot easier whenever you just kind of give everything that you have over to the Lord, right? Like not just your relationship, like with your wife or with your friends, but like your ministries, obviously. Yeah, that's a given. But even like this pressure washing business, everything that I do is absolutely given unto Him. Like He is my provider. Like we hear the scripture, if God is for me, who can be against me? That isn't just like for your life and your salvation, but that's even for everything. That's if the Lord is for me and He's for this business, then who can be against me, right? Like He will work all things to my good, and to this business, is what I believe. And that doesn't mean that He's doing it all for you. And that, like, you still got to put the work in, you still got to put the foot traffic in, you still got to put the, learn wisdom from other people, which is why I'm here today. And so, yeah, I'm excited. Thank y'all for having me on.
Yeah, thank you for sharing your story, at least a little bit of it. I'm one of those weird people that I'm actually like, I take up the whole show just to hear about the whole backstory.
I was going to say, we
Yes.
might have to have you on sometime to just, I'm like he said, I've known Payne for a very long time. He's got a very inspiring and miraculous story. So could be a cool opportunity to hear the rest of it.
I'm good with that. I can talk on that all day. There ain't no doubt.
So maybe we'll unpack that as we go, but have you prepared questions for us? Is there some specific areas that you're struggling with, chewing on, and maybe need a little bit of help on?
Well, absolutely. I have about 3 or 4 questions. And so y'all, I imagine y'all still get these type of phone calls, right? Like the phone calls from people that say, hey, I can get you like 400 roofing jobs in the next week if you want it. Just pay me $1,600, a day, and I can make that happen for you. And I get those calls all the time. And the reason I say that is, where do you find the best way to obtain real leads? Like what do you find is the best way to actually find someone who says, you know what, I'm looking for pressure washing to get done, whether it's a house wash, driveway, roof wash. And how do you know those people are real?
Yeah, Brady, we're going to let your friend Brady answer this.
Well, I really think as it relates to phones, I hate to do this, but I think I should defer to you 100%. And I'd like for you to talk a little bit about the phone side of it. Then we can go into the real lead side and like where the age of the business is at. But if he's getting phone calls from people smoke and mirrors, $1,600 a month or a day or whatever, I can get many roof cleaning jobs. Well,
sorry, go ahead.
Well, we definitely get stuff like that still, Payne, and ours looks a little bit different now. We get a lot of people wanting to just know like what we're charging. So we are paying for phones to ring for people that are not really real customers. So it does happen, right? But one of my questions would be on the phone side of things. I really do think Josh is really the guru as it relates to phones.
Quick question before we've got your question down. Is there any way that you can kind of give us a little bit of like where your business is at? So like a little bit of context, like when did you start? Where are you at? How much work are you doing right now? And then like where you're trying to go.
Yeah.
I feel like that might help us narrow down a more detailed
better game plan.
And then why you started your pressure washing business as well.
Yeah. So I started it, it was about the middle of March. That's my official opening day, I believe, was March 10th.
This year, Payne, right?
This year. Yeah. This year. And so I started, and I even talked to Brady about it before I even started it, just kind of getting ideas. And, the number one reason I got into pressure washing was it's something I do enjoy putting my hands on. I'm not I'm not a mechanic type of guy. I don't have a whole lot of trades. Again, I've been since I was 20, I've been in the ministry. So that's all I know. That's all I've done. But over the years, I've done some pressure washing things, just the normal, get a wand and pressure wash a driveway, my driveway. My grandmother would have me do it all the time. And so I knew on that side of things, I enjoyed it. I had a good time doing that. It was something where I could kind of, it was loud, obviously, what I was doing, but I could kind of get in my own headspace. I could pray in that moment. I could think about my day. I could kind of think about what's going on with my family and that type of stuff. So I enjoyed that. So that was kind of a reason I was, I chose pressure washing. There were some other ideas I had that I was thinking about doing, and I just kind of went with pressure washing, and I enjoy it. It's a great thing. And so March 10th, opening day, and me and my wife, we kind of do everything together. One of the reasons we go to the church that we go to is because one Sunday that we came, we saw that they co-pastor very well, the husband and wife, the pastors of the church. And Shay and I, we do everything together. Like, we don't make a decision without the other person. Anybody out there that's listening to this and you need some marriage advice, don't start a business without, asking your wife first. That would be a terrible idea. That is a setup for failure for your business and for your relationship with your wife. But other than that, it was a very co-partnering idea. She doesn't do any of the work, obviously. It's just kind of me. We got 3 kids, so she takes care of them. But we made the decision to go along with this. And of course, we had some goals, right? Like, how much money do we want to make by the end of this year? How much money are we trying to make a month? what does this look like? And so I'm extremely blessed. I would say that I'm a little bit of a different story for a startup business, meaning I'm still full-time. I'm still in full-time ministry at my church. I'm the youth pastor here still. And so I hear stories, you see the YouTube videos, you see the people talking about starting a business where people quit their full-time job and start a pressure washing business, which is just obviously a horrible, horrible idea, unless you just have some kind of magic that we don't know about, or I don't know about. But I'm able to keep my full-time job, my full-time pay, and everything that I had before I started the business, and start this along the way. So I'm extremely blessed. I don't have a 9-to-5 job. So when talking about starting this business, it was obviously how much money do we want to make? And then when can I actually do this? Because again, going back into y'all said you want to hear about my story. This is kind of like our thought process, Shay and I's, is that we don't want to. The reason I haven't had really another job other than ministry is because all of the other jobs that have been presented to me took up too much time throughout the week where we couldn't fully pour into the ministry like we want to. Like when we got offered the job here at the church that we're at, we told the pastors, when they were set us down and said, we want you to be the youth pastors. We said, okay, that's great. This is what we need, because we don't want to do anything halfway. We want to be able to be there for the students. We want to be there for the parents. We want to be here for the church. We want to be able to be fully sold out and bought into the vision here. And so Shay and I, starting the business, we said, what day or days could you actually do the work? Let's say you get some leads. Say you get some jobs. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays are pretty much my days off. Like from pressure washing, I'm not really taking any physical jobs. I'll take phone calls and that type of stuff. So Thursday and Fridays are my main days, and Saturdays, of course, if need be, that I'll do jobs. So starting off, we wanted to make somewhere between $20,000 to $30,000 in the first year. And so that's, somewhere what we really wanted was if we can make $3,000 a month for the business, then we would feel like we were succeeding. And of course, the first month was not $3,000. It was, I think our first month we made somewhere between $1,200 and $1,800. I can't remember exactly. And
are these numbers take-home numbers or revenue numbers?
These are revenue numbers. So these are not take-home numbers. These are just literally what we got paid, and then we divvied it up after that. I think this, and then from that point forward, every month since, we've made somewhere between $3,000 to $6,000 a month. I think
awesome.
Last month we made $5,800 is what we made.
That's killer, man.
That's
Good
awesome.
job.
Yeah, it was great. The Lord is, again, like it's funny. And, we can talk more about this in just a minute. And this is kind of the reason I asked the first question was I haven't had to really, Shay and I really haven't had to do a whole lot of marketing for ourselves. Again, we're a small business. I'm trying to get somewhere between 3 to 4 jobs a week. That 4 jobs a week, that's like, hey, that's a good week for us. It really, if I can get 2 jobs a week, that's where we're kind of meeting what I need. And so we haven't had to have a whole lot of foot traffic. We haven't had to pay a whole lot of money for marketing. I've kind of done my own on Instagram. And of course, as you know, your first year, a lot of times can be a good year because you're starting up, and someone like me and someone like y'all that have good personalities and know people, you're getting referrals just from people right? And so that's been an extreme blessing. And I say all that to say the Lord has really blessed it in this means of I haven't had a week where I haven't had a job. And so, the only times I didn't have a week or I didn't have a job that week was when I was at beach camp and when I went on a family vacation to Colorado. Other than that, I've had at least one job, if not 2. And
are you attributing most of that to your word of mouth? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, word of mouth. And yeah. I've gotten some things off Instagram and Facebook where I just posted something and someone messaged me, not a paid marketing thing, but just where I posted it and someone sent me a message. Hey, I would like to get a quote, that type of thing. That's excellent.
Are you wanting to stay at 3 to 4 jobs a week, or what's your, like, if you could wave a magic wand in 2 years, what does that look like for you? So that's, that kind of goes into a question I also have down. So I don't know.
here's kind of one of the questions I had that I needed an answer for. So I think if I stayed at 3 to 4 jobs a week, that would meet our needs. I think that would be a very that would be a good thing for us. But of course, like any business, you want to grow, you want to make more money, you want to see how you can become more profitable, not just for yourself, but I'm a lot like y'all. Like there's not a job I leave from that I don't pray for the person, right? I want it to be very ministry based. I want it to be very like Eden's Way, the whole backstory of the name. Obviously, I have a daughter that's named Eden. And so that was kind of the foundation start of that name. But other than that, it was like, the Garden of Eden, like, and our kind of tagline is like restoring things back to its natural beauty, to its first beauty. And so like the Garden of Eden, like it's the most precious, perfect place. And so I say all that to say 3 to 4 jobs a week next year or 2 years from now, I think that would be good. But the question I have later on, I'll just go ahead and ask it. So, is like, at what point do I hire somebody? And if I do hire somebody, what position do I try to fill first? Like, is it a salesman? Is it a technician? Like marketing person? Like, what is that?
Well, let's go in order of these questions. So let's jump backwards a little bit to the original question of the guy having smoke and mirrors on the leads. Yeah. I guess I would defer to you on the phone call side of things there.
Yeah, I'm thinking, like, I appreciate your story, Peyton. Mm-hmm. And there's a part of me that knows today things I didn't know back then. And I want to encourage you on one front that when you're not spending a lot of money in marketing and you're hitting $3,000 to $5,000 a month, that's not a horrible place to be and to allow organic growth to take place. And so if I was trying to get you to scale quickly, I would have you to take the majority of all your profits, and I would encourage you in a season of sacrifice and just say, hey, quit. Don't take any money from the company and dump it all inside of marketing. But every scale has issues and problems with profitability and with growth. And so there is something to process in deciding, what do you really want out of what you're currently doing? And if you're wanting to scale, you're wanting to have multiple trucks, then you need to say no to the first fruits of the money that comes in. The Levites practice this for the first 4 years. And so I would encourage you, as long as you can say no to the profits and let it fuel the growth, you're going to spend a lot more money and you're going to have a lot more problems. But are they problems that you want to have and problems you want to solve? And it does equal more people, more stress, more systems. And less as money. You grow, you have less money. And so
more revenue, less profits, less salary.
Yeah. So since we've hit over 1 million, our profitability is going to be still very similar, if not less than what it was when we were smaller. And so as you grow, your profitability goes because the insurance gets heavier, their expenses, everything costs, even putting trucks, operations manager, productions manager, your sales manager, everything ends up needing more energy and more money and more management. And so the only thing I'd encourage you to start with is really count the cost, because right now you have the ability to hit 4 or 5 jobs a week. Man, that's a beautiful place. And you've got time to pray. And I'm just sharing both pathways of providing. Absolutely. And you can end up enjoying the fruit. But I would say, hey, if you're going to scale, you need to use your profitability for growing and marketing. And we can talk about the Nextdoor app. You can talk about Facebook. You can talk about Google and Bing ads and getting Google ads certified. Those are areas that you can invest in. They all have a strategic purpose. You have to know whether or not you want to enjoy the time and money that you have today, or if you're wanting to sacrifice it for 2 or 3 years for the future. And so obviously we chose that direction, or I would say the Lord chose it for us. Right. And if I knew then what I knew today, I have no idea what would have happened. Right. Because I really started it just to provide for my family. If I wasn't in ministry anymore, as we grew it became, okay, now we got to figure out how to provide for other people's families. Right. And then the more people, the more that's required of you to sacrifice. And
Yeah.
so there's even times in that season where you're like, hey, I got to say no so other people can have, because winter's coming and now I've brought on other team members.
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah.
And at the end of the day, man, like we're doing a 30, 40 minute assessment of your business. You're the guy who has to lay your head down at night and think about the why behind the business, behind your ministry, behind your family, behind being a husband. So it's up to you to decide what route that you want to go. But I think what he's saying is that there are kind of two, and maybe there could be more, but for sure two pathways of like, if your why is to scale, then yeah, you're going to take no money and you can scale quicker. If your why is to get by right now, slow organic growth is a much easier like money in the bank for your time invested.
Right.
And so ultimately it's up to you to decide, but I'm going to say, like, if I'm assessing what you're telling me, I'm just going to say, okay, really doesn't sound like you're trying to scale, like at least not immediately, like not really quickly. My advice to you would be maybe not focusing on phones and just if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You've got organic growth happening and you are saving the percentage on the marketing and really even on the sale, because the sale's taking very little energy. When friends recommend you to other friends, to their friends, the sale is basically done because they already have the rapport and trust. There's zero energy, dude. You're going out and you're cleaning for a good, healthy rate, and you're kind of collecting all the money minus, chemicals, gas, tires, stuff like that. So I like the idea of the organic growth for you right now, because I feel like that's really where your head is at, and it gives you an opportunity to just focus on that, let things happen slowly, and you're really retaining a good chunk of money. Like the amount of money that you're saying, if you're doing $5,000 a month, I mean, the profitability on that could be upwards of 70 to 80% if you're the only guy in the show.
Right.
So at the end of the day, like I said, it's a short assessment. We're only giving our feedback on what we hear on the call, but I love the idea of the organic growth and just going door to door, minimal marketing investments.
So Payne, let's play a game and say, what would we do if we were trying to blow it up and to scale and to grow a company? Would that be okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
The first thing I would do is I'd find a who that can help you do the things that you don't want to do anymore. And so you would have to identify all the tasks that is currently taking up your time that you no longer really want to spend time doing. And those are the people that you hire. And then you can get strategic on how you go about hiring them. Okay. If it's saying, hey, I don't want to answer my phones. If it's, hey, I don't want to do invoicing. Hey, if I don't want to be the salesman. Hey, if I don't want to be the tech. Then you make those decisions based on what you don't like doing and what you don't want to spend your time doing. And so there's identify, delegate, and then fill is kind of the math equation. And so identify everything that you currently do, put a star beside all the things that you love to do, and put a minus beside all the things that you hate doing. Take all the minuses and put it underneath it. And now you've got a job description for your next hire. And you're trying to be strategical in who's going to be that who that ends up taking those things away from you. Early on, I invited my sister to grab phones, and I paid her $5 for every estimate she ended up taking and putting inside of House Call Pro.
Wow.
What that did is it meant I didn't have to hire a full-time person. She was at the house. I really wasn't big enough to even offer a full-time position there. But as we grew, it ended up growing into a place where she could come on full time. And then she did a crushing job of helping us grow and to scale. And all along the way, we also had other who's that became part of the company who did work when I was unavailable, because I had a job during the day as a student pastor.
Right.
And that's where I invited former students or college kids to come in and knock out other work when I couldn't do it.
Right.
Sorry. And then you can also invite like a Josiah that you meet who's picking up your refrigerator or something from Facebook Marketplace, and it's a God meeting. And you're like, hey, would you be interested in being a part of this business? Listen to their story and see whether or not they would become a future partner.
Right.
But everything that you invite into, you have to make sure that your motivation is a motivation that is really between what you desire and what you think you desire based on social media and what other people are doing. Right. A lot of time we see what other folks are doing and we build this identity of I have to be doing that in order to be successful. Yeah. And success is not based on what you compare yourself of where you want to be, but kind of enjoying where you're at. When you shared your story of, you know, how I'm getting organic growth, I felt like I saw flowers coming down and you're walking around, you know, just walking through a field.
Eden. You're walking around in the Garden of Eden.
That's right.
Because where we're at, it feels like bullets, and it feels like we're ducking, we're getting thrown at. We got Google's
The Humvee's not working. We're pushing the Humvee.
It feels like we're trying to figure out how to negotiate our own relationships and business, and it's like it's heavy at this spot. And so, if you want to get there, just know that there's a cost to getting there.
Yeah.
If that's what you want, you can go that direction. And then what you do is you dump your money in marketing, and that fuels the plane for sales. And then you need to have a gorgeous slam dunk sales dude like this guy right here that can sell water to what?
To a fish.
To a fish. Thank you.
That is a necessity.
Ice to an Eskimo.
Okay.
Hey, Payne, based on what I'm sharing with you, what do you hear me saying or when I shared this information with you?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, just for me personally, from what you were saying, like I was going, like when you said make the stars of what I like to do and the pretty much the negatives of what I don't want to. And there I got a job description. I mean, as you were saying it, I was already making that list, you know? And so, I mean, from, you know, somebody, or maybe even Brady knows, I don't know. I have, and this is going to sound kind of ridiculous of what I'm about to say, but with pressure washing, I have like really, I don't have good knees. I have a really, really bad ankle right now. And it sounds crazy. It's actually easier for me to do the pressure washing jobs than it is to actually walk door to door. You know, it's slow, you know, especially like if you're pushing a surface cleaner, it's just slow work. It's actually easy for me. And a lot of times I can't, after a job, go hit a neighborhood on knocking on doors. I haven't really done it that much. Praise God on that. But I can already tell this, you know, this year or this month is actually even a slower month so far. I have 2 jobs this week, but right now, nothing for next week, but the Lord's been providing. But what I'm saying is, I would say the first person for me personally would be a salesperson, you know, someone who didn't mind going, knocking on doors, picking up the phone and calling somebody. And in saying that, the question would be, what's the best way of finding that person and offering that person a job? Is it straight commission? Is it like, do I give you an hourly rate? Do I just give you a $1 for every house you actually knock on? Or, I mean, I feel like commission based would be the best way, but I feel like it might be kind of hard to keep someone because we're a smaller business and it is slower. So, in all that, I will also say on top of it, yeah, man, like if I didn't know any better, it sounds like you want to keep me small, you know, you know, don't get no bigger. And I know that's not true at all, because I will say this, you know, I had my dad owned a business growing up, and I am blessed with having the understanding, even talking with Brady, you know, of that it doesn't get, you don't have more time when you own a business, you have less time. You know, again, y'all already mentioned, you don't have more money when your business gets bigger. You actually have slower or less money. And not only that, like you have the stress of everything else. I'm in a good position. I have no debt in the business. I really have no debt personally, other than my house. My cars are paid off. My pressure washing truck's paid off. All my equipment's paid off. Now there's some things that I want. I'm surviving without right now, but there are some things that I would like to have that I believe would make, you know, some of the processes quicker. Like right now, what I'm saving money for is a decent soft wash system, right? And so right now I'm doing XJet, I'm doing downstreaming, and that's my main thing. So yeah, salesperson, and you know, really look into what the next person or what the next step is for the business. Do I want to stay this way or scale?
I feel like that's the starting point there anyways, is to figure out the why, at least for right now. And like, I mean, you can put together just a few years worth of vision or even a year worth of vision. You don't have to say forever, I'm never scaling. And just because you hire one person doesn't mean that you're scaling, but there is something really just so beautiful about what you're saying about not having the stress and all the money going to you. I think I would say right now, two things. I'm going to answer the question, in my opinion, on the sales guy, how to pay, how to find. But I also want to say it's very honest of you to say, hey, I've kind of got some bad knees, got some bad ankles. And weirdly enough, I just feel like actually staying inside of the cleaning side would be better, because I think 99% of people get in and then they automatically just go, okay, how the heck do I get out of cleaning as fast as possible? Right. And I think finding out, are you the right fit for sales? And that could mean physically or mentally, is a very humble and honest position to be in. And I would say that assessment is very incredible that you would make that, and not just look at it as from a top down thing. So I think that's cool. I'm going to answer the question on what I think in terms of sales. To me, if I've said it once, I've said it 100 times. Hungry dog runs faster, man. Commission is a beautiful place to put a salesperson, because it's going to give you the opportunity to do one of two things: watch them sink or watch them swim in a bucket of money. And both of those feel good, I think, because if a salesperson is absolutely nailing it and they're not just providing sales, they're providing real value to the business, and they're making your business a lot better with very little effort on your side. That is a beautiful thing that ought to be rewarded. Mm-hmm. And if they're not, you'll find out pretty quickly. And I say you continue to search till you find the right who. When I came on, when I came on full time, I washed one day, and I remember thinking,
he was on his phone all day too, and so he was cleaning. He was on his phone. He wasn't really cleaning anything.
That's not true.
We had a team member snitch on him.
No, that was like a long time ago. This is when I came on like full time. But anyways,
I think he was talking to me. I'm pretty sure I was working my job when he was talking to me. So that's
probably.
Perfect.
But I called Josh. I said, hey man, let's sit down and have a talk, because I had the opposite feeling that you had, where I was like, I think my talents would be better served in a separate department that at the moment didn't truthfully really super duper exist. Josh was still doing estimates like Tuesdays and Thursdays, and he was getting done what needed to get done. But a beautiful relationship blossomed out of that, where value was brought to both parties, because I feel like the Lord just orchestrated where we all needed to be on the bus. And so to answer your question, a long way around of saying, I am for commission, man. I really am, because it's up to them to eat or not. And there's really no skin off your back. If they don't produce, you're not really out any money. And when you provide a little bit of security to a salesman, the umph is just not there, as if their meal at the end of the day relied on them selling stuff.
Right. Yeah.
So from moment one, actually, we were total 100% commission. Mm-hmm. For me, from moment one. Now the numbers looked different, and we changed around to fit what needed to fit, but it was all commission, which I can speak from the literal experience that fueled me outrageously, dude, to close deals. Outrageously. And then to develop a system that, could operate on its own.
I've got a thought there. So one thing that I would say is, if you do end up bringing on a salesman, try to have some kind of structure already in place. Okay. Brady, I feel like, is a bit of a unicorn, where he can step into, just a world of like no structure, and like he can come up with his own sales system, and like that's just kind of who he is. So unless you find someone like Brady, that salesman may need like a system to follow, or else they'll just feel like you're saying, go sell stuff and like go door to door, and like, but I don't have a pitch for you. I don't have a way to follow up. I don't have anything for you. It's like the desert out there if you're trying to sell stuff, and especially if you don't have a good system. Right. And so, even if you don't know that system works like to a T, at least you can present it well enough to where that salesman has enough confidence to go to the door and say, say the pitch. That confidence as a salesman, knowing that you've got tools to use, I feel like could be really helpful. Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh, no, I think that's 100%.
I think that just having some kind of structure and saying, hey, this is what you do, this is your tools, and then this is kind of how we do things. I think that could be really good for your first sales guy. No,
that's great. I love both those answers. That's, the commission one, I think we had talked about before, but having a structure, and I mean, you just kind of already brought up a question, like, I don't even have a structure for myself. Like when it comes to sales, like I have my own pitch. I'm very much like I feel like I'm somewhat personable, but like I don't have a structure. Like I just knock on your door and say,
Hey,
hey.
Josh has this great quote. He says, well, he got it from someone else, but I think we can just start tagging it to Josh. But he says, your systems are perfectly designed for the product that you're getting. And so you have a system. It just needs to be reworked, adjusted, plan, do, study, adjust. And so if you don't feel like you have a system, that's your system. So
that's
just
true.
adjust it, work with it, and you'll be just fine.
Like write it down, make it plain, right? Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, and there's a couple of ways to go here. I feel like I've been drinking milk. My throat has got inflammation. I think milk just inflames. Y'all agree or disagree?
I can totally agree with that.
All right, so this is my quote. Your who determines what you do. And so if you've determined that you're going to bring on a sales guy, the who determines what you do.
Yeah.
And so it's not a blanket that you just throw on anybody and say, hey, this is the cape that you're going to wear. They get to determine their cape. And if it's a young guy that might need to be trained and go through like a sales university or something like that, you need to send them to a sales university, which we're launching in 2024 that we're super excited about. And so maybe you send them over here to get trained. But the person that you hire determines it. And so early on, I didn't have time to do all the estimates. And so instead of hiring a salesman, I just trained my sister how to sell right over the phone. And so I used Google Maps and I taught her how to right click and then measure things out. And whether it was gutters, the roof, or the house or the driveway, we just measured it right on Google. And then I had a price per square foot. You know, we did $24 a square foot on roof cleaning. Just kidding. That'd be funny and awesome if we did. You know how that works.
I need one roof a year and I'm done.
There's so many guys on Facebook and share different false information, and they'll be like,
man,
dude, we charge $5 a square foot. I'm like, I'm sure you do.
Then add like 30 discounts on top.
Guess what? You're getting 98% off.
And that is what we call the $100 million offer,
baby.
And so I would say that you can also get creative if you identify a lot of negatives that are also admin. Maybe there's a person that can grab your phones and also do do over the phone estimates where they end up saying, hey, I'm going to take your information. I'm going to look things up and I'll give you a call back. Hey, I've got your address pulled up, your house wash. We noticed it's about 3,400 square feet. Does that sound right? Make sure you say that because there may have been a house just got built on the back side, and that thing becomes a 5,600 square foot house that you quoted out at.
That's true. I mean, like there are pros and cons at different stages of the business to getting on site, but I would share that you've got so much profitability built into this that if you're a little wrong, it doesn't really matter for us. If we're a little wrong, it's like, well, shouldn't have even done this job.
Yeah, absolutely. I've had that happen. Oh, don't get me wrong. For sure.
So I know you've got more questions, but I do want to jump on or say two things really quick before we get too far.
Jump on it.
There's a company inside of Atlanta, and what's the guy's name?
Wesley Bloom.
How
did I know?
Wise
Guys. That's what it is. Their servicing radius is like 5 to 10 miles. And they do like $2 million worth of work inside of those 5 to 10 mile radius.
Crazy.
ATL.
And so
there it is.
Even though you've got like a smaller operation, you could really learn to maximize the neighborhoods that you're serving, really focus on the route density. You can make a really good quality business while it's still small.
Wow.
And another thing that you could do is I would just go ahead and upgrade to your soft wash system, the nice soft wash system, invest in that equipment because, it's going to be already hard for you to answer phones while you're cleaning. It's incredibly difficult, near impossible to do that with an XJ. And so upgrading to a soft wash system, you'll unlock more roof washes, easier, faster, more money. I mean, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And it's going to take a lot of stress off of you and make a good experience for you and your next who that comes down the road. And so I would say I would go ahead and try to upgrade that equipment if you don't already have.
Yeah, one thing I'd throw inside of that conversation is if you want to scale, if you want to spend, there's also another thought of just nailing the services that you love. And so if you end up saying that, hey, I really enjoy just washing the house and I got an XJet and I like my setup. If you don't want to invest, just narrow what you want to do and do that service all day long. And so if you don't like getting up on gutters, if you don't always have a second person for a ladder, it's like, maybe network with a great company in your area, have them do the roof cleaning and the gutter cleaning, and maybe you're taking care of household. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just trying to be honest with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm taking tips from the sales right here.
No, but it is the Chick-fil-A conversation. It's like, be great at what you want to be great at. And then if you want to scale and grow, then go that direction and do those behaviors. But you want to make sure, hey, this is where I want to go. This is what I want to do as we go, but this is the cost of getting these things accomplished.
You know what's really beautiful too about the slow organic growth is if and when you do decide to scale, whatever the future looks like, the foundation of the house that you're going to build over the next 3 to 5 years of organic growth is going to withstand many storms. Like it's going to be strong. And so slow organic growth is like, it's easy to say that when you're not directly involved in slow organic growth, because most people just want to go fast.
You feel like you're losing.
You feel like you're behind, but man, trust me, like the numbers that you're sharing with us, the profitability rates, your vision for what the future looks like for the business is all really, really healthy. And like from our perspective of like looking at a different yard, like the grass seems almost greener on your side sometimes. Like truthfully speaking, it's like it's all beautiful in different areas, but the foundation of the building is going to be great.
No, that's awesome. Every time y'all share something, there's like 6 more questions that pop up in my mind. We don't have the time for it.
Go for it, man.
But
pick a couple of them.
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to cipher through which one would be the better one. I guess like on the sales side of things, what do you I hear it all the time. Packaging is probably the best way. And this is where I kind of fall short on my understanding on sales is on a bigger job. That's where like I kind of get confused, or I really don't know what to say when it comes to like selling. Like, let's just say it's a 5,000 square foot house and they have a, 2,000 square foot driveway. So you're talking and you're doing a house wash and a driveway wash. And you're like, okay, if I'm writing this quote up for every cent for every square foot, like I normally do, that's going to be, a $2,500 job. And that's just, to me, that I'm like, that sounds ridiculous. What's the best way to, and I understand, like, I don't have a whole lot of debt.
I want to get this one.
What's
I'm
the
begging
best way
Brady
to actually make this happen?
I'm begging Brady to, hey, welcome to the youth pastor's philosophy on bidding. And what I'm trying to say here is that, my first job in ministry was $18,000. I'm thankful for it, but I was working 40 hours a week, driving an hour 15 from Greensboro to Yadkinville. And, dude, and like my mentality on money was like poverty, to be honest with you.
Absolutely.
And before starting the business, I've shared this story. I have jumped in the back of Kirkland's trash can, pulling stuff out for our family. We were on food stamps. Like, this was the normal life of the student pastor, or at least for me. And I was at a really nice church. They were good to us, took care of us. But like when you have like 4 kids and then you have 5, and I know I'll have 6, money goes when they start eating and so forth.
Absolutely.
And so
everything else.
here's what you need to know is that I had a poverty mindset, and I was afraid to offer people what it was worth doing. Wow. And I was really doing myself and my team a disjustice. And I hired somebody that wasn't afraid to pull the numbers. And now we were able to charge what we were supposed to be charging all along. But my mindset was one that was built off playing the game Monopoly, where I wanted to buy every property on the board so I could end up owning the entire board. And so I'd win the properties, but I would be buying them at like a value that was super. So if I had a $2,500 ticket, I might be like, hey, I'll do the driveway and I'll give you the house wash for free.
If I can hunt on your land, it's small stuff so we can hunt.
Hey, are the deer still eating these rose bush back here? Like if you're in the Hendersonville area or Nashville area, you've got hunting property, come send me a DM.
That we will absolutely work crazy deals for.
Not anymore.
No,
you
yes,
are gonna,
we will.
no, we won't. You will pay full price, and then I'll pay you to be able to hunt on your property. I'm something out and then never get to hunt because their grandsons are on the property.
Well, that has to be set up. We'll just write up a contract.
And then they don't put the dog up when the dog needs to be up. And so I'm out there in the dark at 3 a.m. and the dog is barking at me while I'm trying to walk. That is scary.
That is scary.
I'm getting mad, but
So
hey,
This is what I hear you saying. Don't sell with your own wallet.
sell
The
it,
way
man.
that you look at
Call
money,
the numbers.
there
Don't be
is
weak.
something called an industry price. Okay. If you're below the industry price and perceived value, if you're below the industry price, perceived value disappears. It's easier. I'm going to like really drop some knowledge here. If you're charging less, you may win more jobs, but you'll probably have more callbacks because when people don't pay the industry price, their perceived value is I'm paying for a deal. So every time, I mean, they will call you back, man. That will happen. So there's a few things. One, I want to speak to the foundation I think that Josh built by doing that, by going in and pricing things very, very low. He set up a foundation for someone to come in and build a house way on top of that foundation because the customers were there. Now, were there times that I would go out to a bid that Josh did the year before and it would technically be $2,000 more than last year? Yes, that did happen. Was it tough to navigate those waters of trying to figure out how in the world am I going to explain this to these people? Yes, that did happen. But I'm happy to report they're all still customers and it all happens in communication. But I want to say the foundation that he built by doing what he's describing was a beautiful foundation. But what you're describing in terms of if you have a 5,000 square foot house and a 2,000, it's like $2,500. One thing you're going to want to try to do is look at your win percentage. Make sure that if it seems outrageous, that make sure it's not, because it could be. You could be pricing things that are off the industry standard. And so those are things that just come with time. But two, know this, you're set up for a beautiful thing that's called a price marinate. A price marinate is technically a sales strategy, but it's a fair one that I am comfortable with using that is honest. And that is where this won't take you $2,500 worth of time. It's called a bundle discount, right? And so you are now able to say, typically, this would cost around $2,500, but if we actually do them both together, I can get you out the door for $1,799. That now gives a perceived value that they're getting a deal and the service is priced at a really good, healthy price normally, which means that they don't think that they're getting some kind of chuck in a truck who doesn't know what he's doing. And the last thing I'll tell you is just believe in your value. When you say a number, and this just does come with time, it'll come with time. Believe in the value of what you're saying. If you're not closing jobs at a high rate, it's because you're not believing in what you're selling. So you have to have the value proposition that supports the number that you're saying. As long as you say the number in total confidence, I'm telling you, I've done it 3,000-4,000 times. People you give off an energy where if you're like, Mr. Jones, this is going to be like $2,500. He's going to go, and you're going to match that tonality. 80% of communication happens through body language and tonality. If you say, well, it looks like Mr. Jones, this is typically going to be around $2,600, but we'll be able to get you out the door since you're doing them both together. What this will wash is the parking pad, driveway, walkway, front patio, exterior of the gutter, soffits, underpinnings, trim, windows, and windows will be soaked and rinsed. They won't be squeegee, but the window sills will be safely soft wash. Describe everything. You can say normally that's around $2,500, but I can get you out the door today for $1,899. Whatever the numbers make sense for you in your business, you've now shown a value proposition, a knowledgeable sales rep for the company, and an honest person where they're not paying full price because they're doing two things. So believe in what you're selling and believe in the value that you bring, and that will change a lot of the way that a customer feels when you say a number, but it'll also start forcing you into going, this number is not that high. This is good. So like I would want to know what your win percentages are. I would assume they're probably pretty high because you also have like the friend thing still going on where there's a lot of rapport built,
Right.
which is kind of hard to then dictate your numbers. You may be overcharging.
I want 100% of all of my estimates is all I'm saying.
That is completely.
It's almost true.
I'll pay you $250 to wash your driveway.
If you're winning 100%, just so you know, yeah, that's what I always said is that Josh would come out here and give them money if they just let us come out. But again, it built a great foundation. So I would say know that when you have multiple services, look for multiple services, man, because you don't have to look at like, I'm just adding money to the ticket. You're also helping a client have a cleaner property for a better price than if they just paid you to come out for one thing. So
Right.
believe in the value proposition that you're selling. Look for ways to add value to a ticket, not just money, and continue to build the foundation that you're already on. And it sounds like you're doing it, but believe in the value that you carry and believe in the number when you say it.
Absolutely. I love it. No, that's a big thing. Both of what y'all said for the poverty mentality, basically it's not that I even think that I live in poverty, and I know you weren't saying that, but it's just like, I don't have the means to pay $2,000 to have my driveway and house cleaned.
Yeah.
That's a huge percentage of my income, but like for somebody else that's a huge help and then also Brady, we're 100% right. Where I've quoted some jobs that were like $2,500, $3,000. And I definitely was like, I was basically giving that guy, I'm saying no for you because that's too much money,
Oh, that's no good, man. Yeah.
Because I was worried about saying the number.
Yeah. And I get that. And I'll say when I first started, I had similar feelings because I just thought these people are fools. If they're going to pay $3,000 to get this, I couldn't do it either. But the reality is those people have money because they were comfortable saying the number to somebody else in whatever business it is that they're running. That's just a reality, dude.
It's
money
true.
just changes hands. It just does. And it's just a service. Like you wouldn't go to McDonald's and someone feel bad for charging you a certain thing and then negotiate a price. It just doesn't happen.
Right.
Payne, do you currently have insurance on the company and
I do.
all that?
Yep.
Yeah. And so once you have those type of things that are covered, you've got to charge what it's worth to have those things in place. And so as you do things right, you've got to make sure your prices are right. And then you're
That's so
also
good.
undercutting the entire market if you end up setting your prices low. And then you also prevent yourself from scalability in the future if you price it low, because you won't be able to maintain those prices over the years. So, whatever your price per square foot on blank, just keep it consistent. If they bundle things, give the percentage off, but by and large, pull the number, do what Brady said, or hire a Brady to do your work.
I want to say two more things on this. I could talk forever on it. Easy tool to do this is set a day rate. Set a day rate for your business of what you need to accomplish. That way, if you go out to Mr. Jones' house and you're looking at it and you're like, man, my square footage charge says I should be charging $3,000, but I think this will take like 7 hours, then you know something's off. Something's off. It depending upon what your day rate is. So set a day rate. That'll give you a really good gauge on your skeleton price of how to maybe bridge the gap there, and then be proud of the quality that you're providing. Because I think a lot of times what I'm hearing from some salesmen is a similar thing. And it's like, I'm so proud of the team that's going to come behind me or myself if I was going out there, that this is the value, man.
Right.
I'm telling you what the value is, because you think that this is good and your experience from the office to getting emails to getting an estimate is good. You just wait till the next guy comes. So for me, be proud of the value that you're selling. It makes it really easy to say a number to be proud of.
Yeah.
That's great.
Make sure. Yeah. And then whatever you would pay someone to do the work. So for us, it might be 20% of the job. Go ahead and do the quick math in your head. If I'm charging, would I take this job to make 20% of this job? And if that's a fair rate for you, then you now can hire people in that position. But if you lower your prices, you're going to end up not being able to replace yourself in the field or to bring other people on that want to stay, because they're going to end up picking,
That's a great thought.
working somewhere else.
Yeah. I like that.
I think we've probably got about time for maybe one more dinger. Is that right? One more question? Yeah. So Scott's telling us we got one more, man. Why don't you hit us with one more?
It's kind of a budgeting question, I would say, is if you were just to straight up just like if you just from what you've heard little of my business, what is it that how would you separate the finances? Like, I guess, like I've been like percentage wise, like for taxes, business account, marketing, investing in equipment, and, and of course paying yourself. Like, do you have like maybe I'm sure you do for your own business, what that looks like, what is that percentage rate? If you're, if that's something that I should be doing, and I imagine it is something I kind of already do.
I think it depends on where you're going. I mean, obviously it's all going to depend on what you want to do, where you're going to go. You first need to start off with what your operating cost is. And so like, that's your go-to is like, figure out how much it costs you to operate your business. And then from there,
tell them what all is included in your cost of goods.
Yeah. So like your COGS, like your operating expenses would be, labor. It would be like insurance, like everything that it takes to keep your business running, your phones, your CRM, gas, equipment, chemicals. I mean, do the whole thing. Just go to your bank statement and just pull up all of your expenses, excluding things that are like investment. And so this could be like upgrading equipment, buying a new truck, buying a new rig. And so those are all things that would not be inside that. Also, marketing would not be inside of your operating costs, or it wouldn't be, right?
It wouldn't be. And so
it's its own,
right. It's its own category. But I would say first start there. And then depending on where you want to go, that's going to allow you to see what's left over, and then maybe even take out what you want to get yourself get paid. I'm sure that portion of what you guys are making, that would fall underneath the operation cost.
Okay.
And so that would be considered labor.
I'll say two things really quick. I'll speak more directly into the sales side of things, and then maybe an overall view. But sales side, I would probably start around a 7 or 8% commission. The reason that I would do that is, and it doesn't sound very high, but if you build the game the right way, you're able to forecast a future where they can make more based off of certain sales being made. Now, there's two ways to play that game. There's that route, there's that playbook, or you can just start them at a higher commission. But I think people like extrinsic motivation, and so knowing there's more to attain by however many more sales that they can close and things of that nature is going to motivate them to actually do that. And then it's fair because you're ending up paying them that commission anyways. But I'm with Josiah. I would say it depends on the vision of where you want the company to go ultimately, because if the company's meeting your needs right now, and don't look at this as a negative term, but if this is more of a side hustle, and when people say that, it sounds negative, but the amount of money you're making from a side hustle is crazy. So if it's meeting the needs right now, it just depends on what the plan is, man, for the future. Because if you actually do plan to scale, then we can have different conversations. But there's two playbooks for that, Like right now, if you're just really wanting to help this supplement some income, it sounds like it's doing that, and I don't see a reason to plan any differently unless you plan to plan differently.
And your budget would reflect that.
Your budget would reflect where you're wanting to go. And right now, if it's meeting your supplement income, which to me it sounds like it is, I don't think there's a need to divvy up other things until you get to a place where marketing is starting to slow down, friend referrals are starting to slow down. And then really there's two different playbooks for that too. Like a door-to-door playbook can meet the needs of not having to sink a bunch of money into marketing. Ultimately, if you put those hands together, it's probably yield you the best result. But I think identifying the why and the vision of the business, like maybe a 5-year vision, will help you build a budget. We can sit here and spout off normal percentages of what it looks like, but it's all subjective to what you want to pay.
That makes sense.
Is there a reason why that was one of your questions?
I guess it was kind of looking into what scaling it would look like. That would, it's kind of a question of like, okay, this is what I'm making now at kind of what y'all have been saying, more of a side hustle money and what I'm getting paid. But like, if I want to scale, and I knew this, and Brady had told me this on the front, my dad and other people are just saying that if you want to scale, you're not going to take a paycheck,
It's all got to go back in.
And which is, completely something that we're gonna have to weigh, and there's other things that go through my mind. It's like pressure washing, soft washing, it's incredible, but there's some dead months. So like, what does that look like? And I know y'all have other things that y'all do. There's not really, I'm trying to look into like, well, there's to a side of, I know y'all have done like Christmas lights or something along those lines. But other than that, I'm trying to look at, I guess, do y'all build an account for the dead months? Like, are y'all putting things away during the heavy months and saying, okay, whenever it's dead, I could still pay the people that are working for me?
That's a really good idea. Yeah.
Go figure.
We need to work on that.
We're working on that. I've been begging for it for a long time. There's some realities too, again, like if it's supplemental, I guess my question is the need to save for you. I'm wondering about, but there is, I mean, there's a lot of different ways. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong camera. A lot of different ways to play it, but yeah, for sure. And then a scaling conversation, 100%. You're going to want to save as many profits, because if you're already feeding the beast anyways, it doesn't matter what month you're saving for. You're not taking anything from it. You're going to want to float yourself through those months for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Payne, what was your question there?
The percentage of, that was the original thing. That was kind of the question for that. But also, like, what do y'all do in the dead months?
So the years that you're in business determines the percentages. And so it's kind of like, what's the best workout? What's the best way to run a marathon? You've got to kind of choose like who you are, what your desires are, learn your own systems. But when you're early on, your cost for growth is going to be different based on your growth. And so early on, if you're trying to scale, you need to have about a 20% marketing. Your cost of goods needs to be around 50%. Your admin needs to be around 5%. Your operation fixed needs to be around 5%. And your operation variable needs to be around 5%. Okay. And so if you get those numbers somewhat in line, you've got 50% for COGS, you've got 20% for marketing, 5% for admin, 5% for the fix, and 5% for variable. You want to try to get it towards that, but all those numbers will move around based on what season you're in your business.
Okay.
Are you using anything like QuickBooks? It's just kind of a quick last question. Are you using anything to budget right now, or just pen and paper, notepad, Excel?
And it's kind of a newer app. I think it was developed by Pressure Washers. And I'm sure y'all have heard of it. It's Quote IQ.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard of that. That's old Mike.
Yeah, that guy. I like it so far. It's keeping all of my records, but again, I don't have a whole lot of clientele, and so it's easy for me to navigate through. There's definitely some quirks in it that need to be fixed, but it was a quick fix, a quick first year thing. If I could ask one last question, this is super quick. What do you consider the best marketing tool? Like what avenue? Like Facebook, Nextdoor, Google?
Yeah. And so I'll handle this one. And it's really based on how your strategy to grow. And I know that sounds silly, but based on where you're at and what your desires are, there might be different tools for different situations. Facebook and I'd say even, TikTok and Instagram, they're going to be built for your branding. And so if you're trying to grow your brand, you're not going to get a lot of return on leads, but you're going to end up building your brand where people can see, your logo, the name of your company, and you're basically just trying to get in front of them as many times as possible, where you end up having a brand identity. It's expensive because it doesn't lead directly to conversions. It will lead some, but it won't lead as much as if you were to put your money towards what we consider Google ads, Bing ads. That is going to be where we spend 100% of our money, because from my experience is I'm not trying to grow Home Advisor. I'm not trying to grow Yelp. I'm not trying to grow Angie's. Those guys are all and I don't mean to be negative, but those customers are the ones that will bleed your company out. And so when I were throwing coupons on Angie's, those were the customers at that time that were the least profitable in the company. And so you can get wins there, you can get leads there, and you can build relationships over time. But if I'm just trying to get the highest return on investment, I'm going Google ads and I'm going Bing ads is how I'm spending my money.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome.
I'll jump backwards into one last thing is in these dead seasons in the beginning of your business and helping to decide whether or not to scale or grow, just so you know, there's friends out there that can help you do that. All right. So if there's a conversation that we need to have, we can have that conversation. You know what I mean?
Hey, I might call one here in a minute. He never answers though.
Ooh, I don't know who that could have been.
Hey, just say, what's your phone number?
Yeah, I'll shoot it up. Well, Payne, thank you so much for being on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure. To all the rest of the viewers out there, if you'd like to do a similar business analysis with us, we would be more than honored and grateful to have you on. So send an email to Scott or Caleb. They'll get you hooked up. They are the total G's of YouTube.
It'll
Again,
be in the description.
Yeah, it'll be in the description. And if you haven't yet subscribe. We enjoy that. We enjoyed the huge conference last week. If you were there, what up? And if not, you need to be there next time.
Hey, and the last message we're going to send is our goal is to build the largest brand of pressure washing network on the planet. And so if you are a missionary-minded believer, if you have a kingdom mindset or a servant leader's heart, we would love to have a conversation with you. We would love to put you in a conversation with us as we're trying to identify the right who's to be in relationship with as we expand our brand inside of different cities. And so if you're interested in partnering with us, visit us at pressurewashingpastor.com. That's all I got.
All right. Until next time. Peace.